All right, let's peel back the layers on something truly profound. Have you ever paused to consider the grandest questions that humanity has grappled with for millennia?
The really big ones.
Exactly. What happens to the mind, to our very essence, after the body ceases? Or is there some fundamental universal symbol, one that whispers across every culture and every age, binding us through time and belief?
Mm.
Tonight, prepare to have your understanding of consciousness fundamentally reshaped.
Indeed, we're embarking on a fascinating journey. Our deep dive takes us into a world where ancient iconography unexpectedly converges with cutting-edge neuroscience, where the very nature of human awareness is radically re-examined,
And not just examined, but potentially controlled.
and where the darker side of ambition seeks to harness and even weaponize the mind itself. It's an exploration that promises to challenge some of our most deeply held assumptions about reality and our place within it.
That's absolutely right. We've meticulously sifted through a rich stack of sources, a thrilling narrative woven with explorations into consciousness, clandestine operations, and historical enigmas.
A real mix.
Our mission tonight is to extract those truly mind-bending nuggets of knowledge, giving you a shortcut to being exceptionally well-informed. We'll uncover surprising facts, dissect complex theories, and hopefully spark some serious aha moments about the true nature of consciousness, the hidden history of symbolic meaning.
And the perilous ethical tightrope walked by scientific ambition.
Exactly. So settle in, because this isn't just a deep dive, it's an intellectual adventure.
Let's do it.
Our extraordinary journey begins in a rather unexpected setting, a lecture hall in Prague. Our renowned symbologist friend Robert Langdon finds himself, well, on the spot.
Put on the spot, yeah.
He's posed a deceptively simple question by a student. Professor, what do you think is the most common religious symbol on Earth? Now you, like most of the audience that day, might immediately think of a cross, maybe a star, perhaps a crescent moon.
Right, the obvious answers, the ones tied to major specific faiths.
These are the symbols we're culturally conditioned to associate with global religions. But Langdon, with his profound understanding of humanity's shared spiritual language, he has a dramatically different, far more universal answer.
What's truly remarkable here is how this immediate challenge to common perception sets the stage for our entire discussion. Langdon subtly nudges us away from culturally specific identifiers, those icons tied to a particular faith, towards something far more primal.
Something deeper.
Yeah. His answer isn't just about religious history. It's an insight into a deeply embedded aspect of our collective human psyche, a shared visual language that predates and transcends individual doctrines. He's suggesting that there's a subconscious consensus, a universal way we've chosen to represent profound states of being.
And what he reveals isn't just surprising, it's genuinely thought-provoking. The answer, Langdon tells the audience, is the halo.
The halo.
Yes, that luminous disk or aura of light that frequently appears above the heads of enlightened or divine figures. He explains that this isn't a symbol exclusive to Christianity or any single faith. Far from it.
No, it's got it all.
This is an icon that pops up in nearly every major religion across recorded history. Consider the Egyptian god Ra, often depicted with a striking sun disk above his head, signifying his divine power.
Right. Ra and the sun disk. Very direct symbolism there.
Think of the Buddha, Hindu deities, and even ancient Roman and Greek gods, all frequently adorned with a radiant nimbus.
That glow around them.
And of course, in Christian art, we see Jesus, Mary, and countless saints portrayed with halos. From solid gold discs to ethereal, transparent circles, and even square or triangular variations denoting different spiritual states or living saints.
Different shapes meaning different things. Interesting.
Langdon points to specific iconic examples: the ancient Egyptian Herakti stela, the Buddhist Kanishka casket, the majestic Christ Pantocrator,
You see it in Byzantine art constantly.
and Renaissance masterpieces by Leonardo da Vinci, Fra Angelico, Giotto, and Titiana. The forms vary, but the fundamental idea, a glow of spiritual light surrounding a revered individual, remains remarkably consistent.
It's a powerful testament to a shared human understanding of spiritual elevation. But what makes this concept truly resonate in a modern context is Langdon's unexpected connection.
Oh yeah, this part is great.
He links this ancient universal symbol to one of America's most iconic figures, the Statue of Liberty.
Right, her crown.
Her radiant crown, with its 7 spikes, he explains, is in essence a modern interpretation of that very ancient halo. It's a universal identifier, consistently used through history to signify individuals believed to possess divine enlightenment, a profound spiritual connection, or indeed an advanced state of consciousness.
Wow.
This unexpected bridge between ancient spiritual iconography and a contemporary beacon of liberty suggests a continuous underlying human quest not just for freedom, but for higher understanding and liberation of the mind. It makes us wonder what advanced consciousness truly entails.
It is a truly evocative idea, this ancient symbol linking spiritual illumination to a modern emblem of freedom. But that phrase, advanced consciousness, it begs a deeper question, doesn't it?
Absolutely. What is it?
What exactly do we mean by consciousness, and where does it originate? This is where Catherine Solomon, a brilliant noetic scientist, enters the discussion.
The next speaker at this event.
She steps onto the stage and asks her audience, and by extension, you, our listener, to consider a basic premise. Where does our awareness, our sense of self, actually come from?
The fundamental question.
The common, indeed almost universal agreement, the currently accepted model of human consciousness, posits that our consciousness is fundamentally created by the brain. That miraculous 3-pound bundle of 86 billion neurons.
The biological machine.
It resides, therefore, entirely inside our heads. Most people in her audience, and likely many of us, would offer a general nod of agreement, right? It seems so intuitively obvious.
This consensus isn't just a casual assumption. It represents centuries of scientific inquiry and philosophical debate, all largely converging on the brain as the undisputed central hub of our conscious experience.
Right, from Descartes.
Exactly. I think, therefore I am. All the way to modern neuroscience mapping neural networks. The idea that we reside within our skulls, a product of our biological machinery, has been a bedrock of Western thought. So to have this established framework, this seemingly unshakable truth presented as the accepted model, is a crucial rhetorical setup for what Catherine is about to reveal.
Setting the stage.
It's the solid foundation that she is about to spectacularly challenge, forcing us to question the very essence of our being.
So if our brains are undeniably the seat of our thoughts, memories, and personality, then what's the big deal? We're all in agreement, right? Our brains make us, well, us.
Seems straightforward enough.
But then Catherine drops a bombshell that sends a ripple of stunned silence through the audience. She takes a heavy sigh, a moment of dramatic pause, and then declares with absolute certainty.
Get ready for it.
The currently accepted model is dead wrong. Your consciousness is not created by your brain, and in fact, your consciousness is not even located inside your head.
Boom. Just like that. Imagine being in that audience.
A collective gasp, I bet.
That single statement fundamentally challenges centuries of scientific and philosophical thought in one fell swoop. The immediate, almost visceral question from the front row, but if my consciousness is not located inside my head, where is it? Is exactly the point.
Yeah, where else could it be?
It's an existential query that forces us to reevaluate everything we thought we knew about our own existence, our sense of self, and our place in the universe. If consciousness isn't physically confined within our skulls, what is it? Where is it? And what are the profound implications for our understanding of life, death, and reality?
This is precisely where the intellectual journey truly begins, moving beyond the familiar and into a realm of radical possibility. To underscore her point about how easily our perceptions can be influenced and even outright manipulated, Catherine doesn't immediately answer that profound question. Instead, she turns to a visual aid. The Hermann grid.
Oh, the grid illusion, yeah.
You've probably seen it before. That classic optical illusion where, as you gaze at a grid of black squares separated by white lines, phantom black dots seem to appear and disappear at the intersections of those lines, depending on where your eye is focused.
Right, they flicker in and out of existence.
It's a simple, elegant demonstration, even conceptually, that what we think we see or know isn't always the full objective picture. It's a clever way to prepare her audience, and you, our listener, to consider that your perceived reality might be a construct.
The Hermann grid is a brilliant rhetorical device here, precisely because it's so widely recognized. It's a simple, undeniable demonstration that our brains often construct or even fill in reality in ways that aren't perfectly accurate, even with basic visual input.
Our brains are tricking us, essentially.
In a way, yes. It serves as a psychological preparation, gently nudging the audience towards a willingness to consider that our everyday experience might be a highly curated rather than comprehensive version of reality. By demonstrating that our perceptions are inherently fallible, Catherine effectively encourages a crucial open-mindedness.
softening them up for the big idea.
Exactly, preparing us to truly grapple with the revolutionary idea that our consciousness itself might be fundamentally different from what we've always assumed.
Okay, so now, with the audience's mind sufficiently primed to question their own perceptions, Catherine Solomon unveils her groundbreaking model, non-local consciousness.
Non-local, that's the key term.
This theory is built on the premise that consciousness is not a localized phenomenon, not something generated by your brain. Instead, it is everywhere, an omnipresent field permeating the entire universe.
Like gravity or electromagnetism, she suggests. A fundamental force.
It is, in fact, one of the fundamental building blocks of our reality. In this radical model, your brain doesn't create consciousness. Rather, your brain experiences what already exists all around it.
Ah, so the brain's role changes completely.
It functions much like a sophisticated receiver, constantly interacting with an existing matrix of awareness, tuning into specific frequencies from this universal ocean of thought and experience.
This concept dramatically shifts the perceived role of the brain from an origin point to a processing unit. If we move from the brain generating consciousness to merely receiving it, the implications are immense, both scientifically and existentially.
It's huge.
It suggests that consciousness isn't a personal, isolated phenomenon confined to an individual skull, but rather a universal, omnipresent field. Each individual brain, then, becomes a unique antenna, tuning into specific signals from a much larger collective awareness.
So we're all connected through this field.
That's the implication. This challenges not only our understanding of biology and neuroscience, but also our fundamental notions of individuality, memory, and interconnectedness. It posits consciousness as a fundamental aspect of reality itself, rather than a mere biological byproduct of complex neural activity.
It's a truly paradigm-shifting idea, isn't it? If our brains are simply receiving consciousness, like a radio, and not creating it, that changes everything about how we understand ourselves, our memories, and our place in the vast cosmos. It implies an immense, almost unimaginable ocean of awareness that we're only just beginning to tap into. To make this incredibly abstract concept more tangible and relatable, Catherine uses a brilliant analogy.
The Mozart analogy. This one really clicks.
Imagine trying to explain the mechanics of a modern radio to Mozart. He would hear the intricate music emanating from the speaker and, using the logic available to him, would undoubtedly conclude that there must be a miniature orchestra meticulously hidden behind the wall, or perhaps even residing within the speaker cabinet itself.
Right, that's the only explanation that makes sense within his worldview.
He would never, in a million years, conceive that the music was, in fact, hovering silently all around them, imperceptible in the form of invisible radio waves, simply being received and translated by that speaker.
This analogy is incredibly potent because it highlights our own cognitive limitations. We, much like Mozart, are confined by our current intellectual and perceptual grasp. We struggle to perceive the music of consciousness that, according to this theory, is silently all around us.
Because we don't have the right receiver. Or don't understand it.
Exactly. Simply because we don't yet fully understand the underlying mechanism. Or perhaps we lack the receiver capable of accessing its full spectrum. It helps us visualize just how much of reality we might be missing, not because it's not there, but because our current scientific models and biological tools are inadequate to detect or process its existence.
It's a call for intellectual humility, really.
It is. It urges us to consider the vastness of what remains unknown beyond our current sensory and cognitive thresholds.
And this non-local model, Catherine explains, offers compelling explanations for phenomena that traditional science often struggles with, frequently dismissing them as mere oddities or unexplainable anomalies.
Things that don't fit the standard box.
She poses a challenging question. How can an otherwise average kid get hit on the head with a baseball and suddenly wake up a virtuoso violinist capable of playing complex concertos without ever having learned?
Or suddenly speak fluent Mandarin.
Exactly, a language they'd never studied. She emphasizes that such sudden savant syndrome has been medically documented numerous times. Cases like Derek Amato, the piano virtuoso after a concussion, or Jason Paget, seeing math formulas after an assault.
These aren't just isolated anecdotes. The medical literature, despite the rarity of individual cases, documents these occurrences repeatedly, often leaving traditional neurologists bewildered. The accepted scientific model struggles immensely to explain how a brain injury could create such complex, highly skilled new abilities.
Right, it seems impossible, like installing software via head trauma.
As if new programs or vast databases of knowledge are magically downloaded into damaged neural tissue. But within Catherine's non-local model, the brain functions much like a classic car radio with a physical tuning dial.
Okay, the radio analogy again.
Normally it's fixed, finely tuned to your classic rock station. A clear, consistent signal representing your unique personality, learned skills, and memories.
Your normal self.
When there's a sudden jolt, like that baseball hit, it's as though the tuner is temporarily knocked slightly off its usual frequency. Suddenly, in addition to your familiar classic rock, you're briefly hearing a sophisticated Spanish opera or a virtuoso violin concert.
Accessing information that was already out there.
Accessing information that, in the non-local view, was always out there in the universal field of consciousness. This reframes these oddities as logical, if rare, instances of a biological tuner, briefly shifting frequency, tapping into alternative streams of awareness.
That truly is where things get fascinating, isn't it? This isn't just about unlocking hidden talents within the brain. It's about the brain temporarily accessing entirely new streams of information from a universal external source.
It's mind-bending.
It's almost as if every language, every skill, every piece of knowledge already exists within this cosmic matrix, and our individual brains simply need to find the right frequency to tune in. The non-local model also offers compelling explanations for experiences like precognition and déjà vu. Catherine suggests these aren't mystical premonitions, but rather analogous to how radio broadcasts sometimes bounce around in the Earth's atmosphere, creating echoes and slight time delays.
Like atmospheric interference on the radio signal.
In the non-local model, these manifest in our minds as a brain receiving signals that are slightly out of sync with linear time, perhaps a faint echo of a future event or a replay of a past one.
This connection to phenomena like precognition and déjà vu deeply challenges our fundamental understanding of time itself. If time isn't a strictly linear one-way progression, but perhaps more like a vast, accessible data stream within this universal consciousness,
Then these experiences aren't so weird after all.
then these experiences become less mystical and more about the brain's capacity to tune into different temporal aspects of that field. It suggests that our minds are capable of far more than we realize, potentially accessing events slightly ahead of or behind our immediate present.
It moves us away from a purely deterministic, linear view of existence, opening up profound questions about free will and the nature of reality.
It means that what we perceive as now is just one particular frequency among many.
So if our brains are merely receivers, what precisely is regulating this tuning dial, preventing us from being overwhelmed by an infinite cascade of information?
Good question.
Yeah.
Must be a filter, right?
Catherine then introduces us to the actual biological mechanism responsible for filtering out incoming data, GABA, or gamma-aminobutyric acid.
GABA, a key neurotransmitter.
She explains that GABA acts as the brain's tuner, a crucial neurotransmitter that limits our reception to a single manageable frequency, effectively blocking out dozens, if not hundreds, of others.
It's essential. It ensures the brain doesn't become catastrophically overloaded with too much information, preserving our sanity and ability to function.
Like noise canceling for consciousness?
Pretty much. She describes it as a protective veil, preventing our brains from experiencing reality as it truly is, thereby limiting how expansive our consciousness can be. This single chemical, GABA, she suggests, may be the very reason why humans are not able to perceive the full spectrum of reality.
Wow. And she even points out a compelling developmental aspect.
Newborn baby brain, right?
Exactly. The brain of a newborn baby has incredibly high levels of GABA, effectively filtering out almost everything except what is directly in front of its face, making them virtually unaware of details across a room.
So they start out highly filtered.
As we age, GABA levels gradually decrease, allowing for broader perception, but still maintaining significant filters.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it implies a profound truth. Our everyday perception isn't a full, unadulterated picture of reality. Instead, it's a highly filtered, curated, and simplified experience, specifically designed by evolution to prevent cognitive overload and allow us to effectively navigate our physical world.
So reality is relative.
It makes reality a relative rather than absolute concept. This raises a truly profound question for all of us. What would it be like to temporarily turn that GABA filter off?
Would it be chaos or enlightenment?
Would it be an overwhelming deluge of sensation and information? Or would it lead to a richer, more connected, and more profound understanding of the universe? It forces us to consider the possibility of a true reality that is constantly just beyond the grasp of our everyday, biologically filtered minds.
Catherine then shares a truly fascinating paradox, one that seems to directly support her non-local consciousness model, the phenomenon of postictal bliss following epileptic seizures.
Right, the calm after the storm, but it's more than calm.
While epileptic seizures appear to be a disruptive, almost violent storm within the brain, they are often followed by a pleasurable refractory period known as postictal bliss. This isn't just a moment of calm, it's described as a profoundly peaceful, expanded state of consciousness.
Accompanied by intense bursts of connectedness, vivid creativity, profound spiritual enlightenment, and even spontaneous out-of-body experiences, or OBEs.
OBEs, wow. Langdon himself recalls his recent unsettling encounter with Sasha Vesna, an epileptic woman working for Gessner, and he remembers numerous historical accounts of what were once called visionary epileptics, figures like Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Who describes similar profound and often blissful experiences during or after their seizures. It's a compelling piece of evidence suggesting the brain's filters might momentarily drop.
It's so counterintuitive.
What's fascinating here is the counterintuitive nature of this phenomenon. A brain in significant distress, undergoing a seizure, appears to subsequently open up to a more expansive, blissful state. This strongly suggests that the very physiological conditions that seem to disrupt normal brain function might actually be temporarily bypassing our usual GABA filters.
Allowing access to that wider bandwidth.
Allowing access to that wider bandwidth of consciousness Catherine described. It's a tantalizing thought that suffering, or an extreme physiological event that overwhelms the brain's usual controls, could inadvertently lead to moments of profound enlightenment and connection, offering a direct, albeit fleeting glimpse beyond our everyday limitations.
It suggests our brain's primary function might be to limit, rather than create, our conscious experience.
That's a radical thought, isn't it?
So what we're learning is that extreme conditions that seem to disrupt the brain, whether it's a baseball impact or an epileptic seizure, might actually be temporarily opening it up to a broader reality, bypassing our usual protective filters.
A crack in the veil.
It's a tantalizing, almost unsettling thought that suffering could, in a twisted way, lead to enlightenment. Catherine then brings up another intriguing phenomenon, one often described as la petite mort, the little death.
Ah, yes, the French phrase for sexual climax.
She explains that during sexual climax, the mind experiences a blissful moment of oblivion, a sensation in which the entire corporeal world, all physical sensations and external concerns, momentarily evaporates.
A total detachment.
This blank slate detachment from oneself, this fleeting abandonment of all concern, pain, and fear, she notes, is precisely the same feeling described by people who have had near-death experiences.
This comparison is a powerful way to bridge a common, intense human experience with a profound, often mystical one. The little death highlights that our capacity for profound, ego-dissolving detachment, akin to an out-of-body experience, is not exclusive to moments of extreme trauma or illness.
But is built into us somehow.
It's an inherent part of our physiological and psychological makeup. However, Catherine is quick to point out that this experience is frustratingly fleeting. Within mere seconds, the mind rushes back into the body, reconnecting with the physical realm and all its pains, stresses, and guilts.
The filters snap back on.
This rapid return reinforces the idea of our brain's filters, quickly reasserting control, pulling us back to our limited but necessary everyday reality, preventing us from dwelling in that expansive, unfiltered state.
Okay, now, to truly test the limits of this non-local consciousness theory and the role of GABA, Catherine Solomon embarked on what she describes as a groundbreaking, ethically complex experiment.
This is the big one. The death experiment.
She found a terminally ill patient, a retired neurologist himself, who, with an incredible act of scientific altruism, agreed to undergo his death process while enclosed inside a new kind of imaging machine.
A neurologist volunteering, that adds weight.
This wasn't just any scanner. It was a real-time magnetic resonance spectroscopy device, capable of minute-by-minute analysis of brain chemistry. The objective was unprecedented, to watch his brain chemistry literally moment by moment as he died.
Providing accurate, real-time data never before measured at the threshold of life and death. His family and hospice staff were gathered around, creating a poignant and profoundly human, yet scientifically rigorous setting.
It sounds incredibly intense.
This experiment pushes the boundaries of medical ethics and scientific inquiry, transforming a deeply personal and sacred event into an unprecedented data collection opportunity. The participation of a retired neurologist adds another layer of scientific gravitas, as he would have understood the profound implications of what he was contributing to.
A final contribution to science.
This setting is not just poignant. It represents a unique intersection of human experience and cutting-edge technology, meticulously designed to capture the ultimate mystery, the moment of transition from life to death in granular scientific detail. It's an attempt to quantify the unquantifiable, to literally witness the brain's final act.
And what they observed was truly astonishing, something that profoundly challenges our conventional understanding of dying. As the patient died, his GABA levels, that crucial chemical filter we discussed earlier,
The brain's tuner.
dropped precipitously. They didn't just gradually decline, they plummeted, approaching zero in his final critical moment.
Plummeted. Wow.
This was a complete, dramatic reversal of our everyday, filtered perception. What it meant, Catherine explained, was that all of his brain's protective filters were gone. The entire death experience was flowing in, with nothing blocked out.
Nothing blocked. An unfiltered reality?
This suggests a radical, immediate expansion of awareness at the very moment of physical demise.
This observation raises a truly transformative question for humanity. Is death not merely an end, but rather an unfiltering? Is it a moment where our consciousness, unburdened by biological limits, perceives everything?
That's a mind-blowing concept.
This redefines the very process of dying, transforming it from cessation into a profound expansion, a total immersion into an unfiltered, boundless reality. The scientific data that precipitous measured drop in GABA provides a verifiable physical correlate for what has often been described anecdotally as an all-knowing bliss or an encompassing light during near-death experiences.
So the science might actually back up those NDE accounts.
It strongly suggests that our final moments might, paradoxically, be the most intensely conscious and expansive of all.
This is where the implications become truly profound, isn't it? If the brain, in its final moments, not only sheds its filters, but also becomes hyper-aware and floods with an intense feeling of joy and connection, it completely reframes our understanding of the dying process itself.
Changes everything about how we view death.
No longer a terrifying unknown, but a potential moment of ultimate clarity, unity, and connection. What's more, in the 60 seconds immediately before the patient's heart stopped, his brain flooded with high-frequency oscillations.
High-frequency oscillations. What does that mean?
These weren't normal brainwaves. These were incredibly rapid electrical impulses accompanied by that intense feeling of joy and connection to all things.
Okay, so heightened brain activity and joy.
Catherine concludes that this proves that during the dying process, our brain's filters open up dramatically, and we essentially become a radio that hears the entire spectrum of consciousness. Our individual awareness, she posits, witnesses all of reality.
Okay.
She emphatically emphasizes, as we die, our bodies shut down and our brains wake up.
Wake up, not shut down. That's the key takeaway. This conclusion is utterly transformative, bridging the gap between scientific observation and spiritual understanding. Building on her non-local model, Catherine posits that if individual consciousness truly originates from outside our physical brain,
As her theory suggests.
as much noetic research now suggests that at the moment of death, consciousness doesn't simply vanish.
Yeah.
Instead, it fluidly abandons the physical realm and reintegrates back into the universal whole, the cosmic matrix of awareness from which it emanated.
So it goes back to the source.
You no longer need your body to receive the signal. You are the signal. Langdon, reflecting on this scientific conclusion, feels a chill, noting its profound resonance with ancient spiritual ideas of the soul returning home.
Right, like that quote.
He recalls a timeless teaching. The dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God. It's a powerful validation of millennia of human belief through the lens of cutting-edge science.
So pulling all this together, what does this truly mean for us? It suggests that ancient spiritual texts and the most cutting-edge neuroscience might actually be telling us the same profound story about what happens when we die,
Pointing to the same underlying reality.
hinting at a universal blueprint for existence that extends far beyond the physical. Langdon, ever the symbologist, reflects on how every single religious tradition that has survived the test of time, enduring through countless generations and cultural shifts, offers the lone, unswerving assurance of reincarnation or some form of life after death.
It's a remarkably consistent theme across cultures.
He once viewed this remarkable consistency as a purely Darwinian survival of the fittest for belief systems, where comforting narratives naturally persisted. But now, in light of Catherine's work, he sees it as potentially reflecting a deeper underlying truth about the nature of reality and consciousness.
Not just wishful thinking, but maybe tapping into something real.
He specifically recalls the ancient teachings of Asclepius, the Greek god of medicine, whose wisdom feels strikingly modern. Far too many fear death and regard it as the worst disaster that can befall them. They know nothing of what they speak. Death comes as a dissolution from an exhausted body.
A release, not an end.
Just as the body leaves the mother's womb when it is mature in it, so also does the soul leave the body when it has come to perfection.
Wow. That resonates deeply with Catherine's findings. This convergence of ancient wisdom and modern scientific data is truly remarkable, suggesting that human intuition about an afterlife, consistent across diverse cultures and epochs, might not be mere superstition, but an intuitive apprehension of a fundamental truth about consciousness itself.
Catherine reinforces this by advocating for a radical redefinition of life and death.
This is important too, how we define death itself.
She emphasizes that death should be defined by the absence of a conscious mind, not merely by the failure of a functioning physical body. She contrasts a brain-dead person whose body may be kept alive by machines, but whose consciousness is gone.
Right, the body is there, but the person isn't.
With a quadriplegic, like the brilliant Stephen Hawking, who had lost almost all physical function yet remained profoundly, vibrantly conscious. This dramatically shifts the focus from biological function to the presence of a sentient mind.
Consciousness is the key, not just biology, she asserts. We can no longer deny the growing tide of evidence that consciousness can exist outside the body, beyond the confines of the brain. The day has come for us to entirely redefine consciousness, and therefore entirely redefine death.
It's a huge call to action.
This is a radical reevaluation that impacts not only science, but also philosophy, ethics, and our most personal understanding of mortality.
Our deep dive now takes a chilling turn, moving from the philosophical wonders of consciousness to the shattery, often morally ambiguous world of intelligence agencies.
Okay, here we go. Enter the CIA.
Everett Finch, the formidable director of the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology, operates under a terrifyingly clear belief. The human mind is the world's next battlefield.
That phrase alone.
Yeah.
The next battlefield.
Chilling. Project Threshold is his audacious, top-secret attempt to lead this charge, a mission he's committed to protecting at all costs. While officially presented as a benign science research facility, whispers and rumors persist that Threshold is actually a secret military prison or even a clandestine chemical weapons bunker.
Highlighting the profound secrecy and potential danger inherent in his pursuit. The very premise of Finch's mandate, that the human mind is the world's next battlefield, immediately shifts our deep dive from intellectual wonder to something far more alarming and ethically fraught.
Yeah, the tone changes completely here.
The idea of weaponizing consciousness, of seeing the mind not as a source of enlightenment, but as a strategic asset to be controlled or exploited, raises profound questions about the limits of scientific ambition and governmental power.
And the secrecy is key.
The deliberate ambiguity surrounding Threshold's true purpose, a science research facility versus a military prison or chemical weapons bunker, underscores a sinister undercurrent to this pursuit of advanced knowledge, hinting at operations far beyond the realm of ethical scientific inquiry.
It's deeply unsettling, isn't it? A top-secret facility operating under a black budget, with the human mind designated as a battlefield. This is where our deep dive truly moves from philosophical exploration to something far more alarming and ethically complex.
And the location itself is wild.
The facility itself is ingeniously concealed deep beneath Folomanka Park in Prague. Its entrance is disguised as an old, long-defunct bomb shelter ventilation shaft.
Just looks like old infrastructure.
To casual passersby strolling through the park, it merely appears as a giant concrete torpedo, a seemingly innocuous urban relic that local street artists have playfully transformed into a popular, recognizable landmark. The beloved droid R2-D2 from Star Wars.
R2-D2, hiding a top-secret CIA mind lab. What's truly remarkable here is the sheer audacity and psychological sophistication of the concealment.
It's brilliant camouflage.
Using a beloved, instantly recognizable pop culture icon like R2-D2 to hide a facility focused on potential mind control and human experimentation is a brilliant act of misdirection. It ensures that what's right in front of everyone's eyes is the very last thing they would ever suspect.
Plausible deniability.
Exactly. The strategic advantages are clear. The location is remote and discreet, offering plausible deniability for any personnel coming and going who can simply claim they are working at the nearby legitimate Gessner Institute. This elaborate deception, employing a layer of playful familiarity to mask something truly sinister, speaks volumes about the sensitivity, secrecy, and potentially nefarious objectives surrounding Project Threshold.
Finch then reveals Threshold's most astonishing and frankly terrifying capability. They have developed an implant that can actually view the content of the mind's eye.
View the mind's eye. What does that even mean in practice?
This isn't some crude brain scam. This sophisticated technology allows them to monitor the full spectrum of images a brain conjures, whether they are vivid dreams, fleeting daydreams, or the most intricate creations of pure imagination.
They can see your dreams, your daydreams.
They can see it unfolding in real time, with startling clarity and full detail. Langdon, with his encyclopedic knowledge of cutting-edge research, immediately recognizes this as a quantum leap far beyond existing rudimentary technologies, which could only approximate dream data.
So much more advanced than anything public.
This facility can, quite literally, spy on the imagination, seeing our innermost, most private thoughts as if they were projected onto a screen.
Just try to imagine that for a moment. A technology that could literally see your thoughts, your inner world, your most private imaginings. The ethical and privacy implications are absolutely staggering, fundamentally turning the very concept of a private mind on its head.
There's no privacy left if they can do that.
This isn't just about reading thoughts in the simplistic sense. It's about externalizing and observing the very fabric of our subjective experience, our creativity, our fears, our desires. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this capability represents a profound and terrifying advancement, blurring the lines between internal personal thought and external state-sponsored surveillance.
It fundamentally alters our understanding of mental autonomy and personal freedom, pushing us into a future where the last bastion of privacy, our own minds, might be breached.
And this isn't the CIA's first rodeo with this kind of stuff, apparently.
No, Ambassador Nagel, who we'll hear more about later, explains that Threshold isn't entirely new territory for intelligence agencies. It has a dark legacy. During the Cold War, Russia made massive investments in psychotronics.
Psychotronics.
Yeah.
Sounds like something out of sci-fi.
Research into paranormal phenomena like mind reading, extrasensory perception, ESP, and thought control. The CIA, in a state of growing panic over what their adversaries might be developing, initiated its own highly classified neuromilitary research programs, including the infamous Stargate project.
Project Stargate. Remote viewing.
Despite later public debunking and ridicule, Stargate's initial remote viewers achieved startling successes. These included spying on Soviet submarines, pinpointing the locations of crashed bombers, and even finding kidnapped personnel.
The 8 Martini results.
Exactly. They were so mind-boggling they were dubbed 8 Martini results because they required multiple cocktails to process the sheer improbability and impact. While Stargate was eventually discovered by the public and mercilessly mocked as pseudoscience.
Which it largely was. Official.
Some project managers and agents, like L-Teen Curl Brian Busby, staunchly maintained that it was a real thing and it worked.
When we connect this to the broader historical context, it becomes clear that Threshold isn't just a new, isolated project. It's the latest iteration of a long-standing, controversial, and almost obsessive quest by intelligence agencies to harness the power of the human mind for espionage and control.
They never really gave up on it.
It demonstrates a persistent, almost desperate belief in these capabilities, despite public skepticism and official dismissals. The history of Stargate, with its tantalizing successes and eventual public humiliation, shows a consistent pattern. A deep fascination with the mind's hidden potential, shattered by the difficulty of reliable, repeatable scientific validation.
But they keep trying.
Yet the perceived strategic advantage is compelling enough to warrant continuous clandestine investment, pushing ethical boundaries year after year.
And this is where the narrative takes a truly chilling turn. The CIA isn't just observing minds at Threshold, they're actively re-engineering them.
Rewiring the brain itself, that's terrifying.
And they're doing it using an incredibly powerful, ethically dubious combination of immersive virtual reality and intravenous psychoactive drugs. Threshold's method combines state-of-the-art immersive computing, or VR, with carefully controlled doses of intravenous drugs, specifically powerful psychedelics.
VR and psychedelics. Why that combination?
The drugs aren't just for altering perception, they're strategically chosen to amplify neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to change and form new connections. This stimulates the rapid growth of new neural pathways in the brain.
making the brain more malleable, easier to reshape.
Simultaneously, they integrate incredibly challenging VR puzzles, complex, abstract, problem-solving environments designed to demand intense cognitive focus through a drug-induced fog. It's akin to a marathoner training with weighted sneakers, forcing the brain to work harder, accelerating its adaptive processes.
So the drugs make the brain plastic, and the VR forces it to rewire in specific ways.
Exactly. This combination creates staggeringly intense, highly addictive, and vividly realistic experiences that can quickly and profoundly rewire the brain's entire neural network. The ultimate, horrifying goal: to rewire the brain, to access and process information in radically new ways, essentially training the mind for specific, undisclosed, and undoubtedly clandestine tasks.
The idea of deliberately altering human brain physiology and consciousness for clandestine purposes is incredibly unsettling, indeed profoundly disturbing. This transcends simple mind control. It's about fundamentally resculpting the very architecture of thought, perception, and even personality.
It's reprogramming people.
It raises an insurmountable array of ethical questions about autonomy, free will, consent, and the inherent irreversible dangers of wielding such powerful neurotechnological tools in secrecy, especially by intelligence agencies. This application of neuroscience moves far beyond therapy or enhancement into a realm of controlled, potentially irreversible transformation for the purposes of espionage, information extraction, or even warfare.
And using addictive drugs on vulnerable people.
The use of highly addictive experiences and powerful psychedelics in an involuntary, non-therapeutic setting is a profound ethical breach, essentially creating a new frontier in human manipulation and exploitation.
This leads us to a crucial and deeply ironic realization about Catherine Solomon's work. Her original theoretical model, developed in her grad school thesis,
Her early theoretical work
included the idea of a hypothetical brain chip that could regulate GABA levels. Her benevolent vision was that this chip could essentially lower the brain's filters on demand, consciously widening its bandwidth.
turning the brain into that human receiver.
This, she theorized, would turn the brain into a human receiver capable of perceiving signals from what she termed the cosmic realm, leading to expanded consciousness and deeper understanding.
A tool for enlightenment.
And here's the cruel twist. This is precisely the core technology Threshold is developing and refining.
Oh no, they took her idea and weaponized it.
Their goal is to allow individuals to consciously lower their GABA levels, not for spiritual expansion, but so they can perceive the entire electromagnetic spectrum and access expanded consciousness for state-controlled purposes.
The irony here is indeed immense and tragic. Catherine, the very person advocating for the benevolent understanding and expansion of consciousness, inadvertently provided the theoretical blueprint for its weaponization by a powerful intelligence agency.
It's heartbreaking.
The greatest irony is that the artificial neurons Threshold developed, described with chillingly precise terms like nanoelectric biofilaments and bilateral organotechnic fusion,
Sounds very high-tech and scary.
are identical to what Catherine herself proposed in her youthful, imaginative grad school work. At the time, she considered it pure fantasy, a concept relegated to the distant future. These terms aren't just jargon. They refer to synthetic neural tissues, bioengineered to integrate with existing brain structures at a cellular and molecular level,
Allowing precise control.
allowing for unprecedented, precise manipulation of neurotransmitter pathways, like those that regulate GABA. This seamless fusion of biology and nanorobotics is what makes Threshold's implants so revolutionary and terrifying. Finch, in his ruthless pursuit of this technology, had coerced Brigitte Gessner, Catherine's colleague,
Gessner, the psychiatrist.
to assess Catherine's lecture, and then, under duress, extract the detailed designs of Catherine's brilliant but vulnerable work from her.
So when we connect all these threads, what's the devastating takeaway? Catherine, the very scientist who dreamed of unlocking humanity's potential through consciousness expansion,
Inadvertently provided the exact blueprint for its weaponization by a powerful intelligence agency. It's a stark, chilling reminder that even the most theoretical, well-intentioned science can have profound, unforeseen, and often devastating consequences.
especially when powerful, secretive groups get involved.
Particularly when powerful entities with secretive, unethical agendas are involved. The purity of scientific discovery can be perverted for control.
Our narrative now brings us to the terrifying clay-smeared figure who became known as the Golem.
The Golem of Prague, but not the legend.
This wasn't some mythical creature conjured from ancient texts, but a man named Dmitry Susevich. He was a Russian epileptic patient, originally treated by Brigitte Gessner, who tragically became an unwitting test subject for Threshold's experiments.
Another victim of Threshold.
Dmitri suffers from dissociative identity disorder, or DID, a complex psychological condition. In his case, the golem is an alter, a distinct, fully formed personality existing within his host body.
DID, formerly known as multiple personality disorder.
Catherine explains that DID involves multiple alters, sometimes dozens, each capable of having different voices, accents, handwriting, unique skill sets, preferences, and even different IQs and eyesight.
Truly separate identities within one person.
She describes Dimitri's fragmented internal world as one radio receiving multiple distinct stations, a poignant echo of her non-local consciousness theory.
A living example of her theory, almost. This profound revelation reframes the monstrous figure, covered in clay with ancient Hebrew symbols etched into his forehead. He isn't a mythical entity, but a man experiencing a profound, scientifically documented, yet still deeply mysterious human condition.
And the golem parallel is deliberate, isn't it?
What's truly fascinating here is the narrative mirroring of the ancient golem legend, a figure of clay brought to life to protect the Jewish people from persecution. Here, Dmitri, as the golem, is born out of intense personal suffering, brought into being to protect Sasha from a very modern, systemic evil.
Protecting the vulnerable soul.
He embodies a raw, almost primal form of justice against the abuses of Threshold. His internal world, a broadcast of many different channels, provides a poignant and human illustration of the non-local consciousness theory, where different frequencies of awareness can coexist and even emerge within a single physical form.
The golem himself vividly recalls the traumatic moment of his birth in a desolate Russian psychiatric hospital. Sasha's innocent soul, unable to endure another moment of profound suffering under the cruel and dehumanizing conditions, had called out to the universe in desperate need of help.
A moment of absolute desperation.
In that instant, the golem flickered abruptly into consciousness, finding himself trapped within a body being mercilessly beaten by a night nurse. Overcome with an overwhelming surge of pain and outrage, he instinctively rose up, summoning an almost superhuman strength the body had never before accessed, and strangled Sasha's attacker.
A protector born from violence, protecting from violence.
In that primal act of protection, he heard his own hollow voice for the very first time, realizing his purpose. Like the ancient clay monster of legend, the golem sees himself as an outcast, condemned to a solitary existence, but with a singular, unshakable purpose: to protect Sasha's innocent soul from the stark horrors of the world.
His entire existence is about protecting Sasha.
His mantra, etched into his forehead in 3 powerful Hebrew letters, Aleph, Mem, Tav spells EMT, meaning truth. His every action is driven by an uncompromising belief that there are only 2 paths, truth or death.
Emet, truth, a powerful symbol for him.
And for Sasha, he chooses both.
This origin story is incredibly powerful, transforming a psychiatric condition into a heroic, albeit tragic, narrative. It highlights the profound suffering that can lead to the emergence of such protective altars, creating an entity dedicated solely to safeguarding a vulnerable soul. The golem's self-perception as a righteous protector, imbued with the ancient symbol of truth, elevates his personal struggle to a symbolic quest for justice against the systematic brutality of Threshold.
And he forces the truth out, doesn't he?
Through brutal coercion, yes. The golem forced Brigitte Gessner to confess all the horrific details of Project Threshold, laying bare the unspeakable cruelties inflicted upon its unwitting patients. This confession divulged everything: the invasive surgeries, the brain implants, the horrifying death of Dmitri himself during experimentation.
Wait, Dmitri died?
Yes. The host personality, Dmitri, apparently died during some of the extreme experiments, leaving the golem as the dominant surviving presence. The confession covered the administration of psychedelic drugs, the involvement of Mr. Finch and the CIA, and their true, terrifying objective in Prague.
And Sasha was central to this.
Sasha, in particular, was singled out, implanted with the GABA-regulating chip, making her a primary test subject. Her growing happiness in her relationship with Michael Harris was coldly and cynically exploited, used by Finch as a form of surveillance, monitoring the physiological effects of emotions on the brain for his own dark purposes.
That's just evil. Using her happiness against her, this revelation exposes a profound and utterly sickening ethical breach, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The CIA systematically tricked vulnerable psychiatric patients, exploiting their fragile conditions and deepest suffering for clandestine scientific experimentation, all under the guise of therapy or research. It's truly horrifying, a betrayal of trust on every level.
And the golem made sure this confession wasn't lost.
After forcing Gessner's full, agonizing confession, the golem ensured it wouldn't be silenced. He recorded it, a video described as tortured, depicting Gessner's distress, and she divulges every incriminating detail about Threshold, the human testing, the brain surgeries, the implants, the psychopharmaceuticals, the induced near-death experiences, and the full list of people involved.
The smoking gun video.
This video becomes the critical insurance for Langdon and Catherine. Ambassador Nagel, witnessing this horrific truth, takes immediate action, safeguarding multiple copies. This ensures that no matter what else happens, the CIA can never again come after them for what they know. It stands as the definitive, irrefutable proof of Threshold's existence and its unspeakable, unethical practices.
It's the leverage they need.
What's truly critical here is how the golem's act of recording this confession provides not just information, but unparalleled leverage. It's the pivotal piece of evidence that forces accountability and acts as an inviolable shield against a powerful secretive agency determined to bury its crimes. It ensures that the truth, embodying the golem's very mantra, cannot be suppressed or denied.
And his final act is destroying the place entirely.
And his ultimate act of retribution against the House of Horrors was to utterly destroy the facility itself. The golem weaponizes Threshold's own power source, the SMES, or Superconducting Magnetic Energy Storage System.
The SMES system, what's that?
This colossal device, typically kept at supercold temperatures by over 20,000 liters of liquid helium, is designed to discreetly store vast amounts of electrical power. The golem, in a final, calculated act of vengeance, climbs atop the SMES, forcefully closes the quench vents, which are normally kept open for safety to prevent pressure buildup, and causes the massive volume of liquid helium to boil and rapidly expand.
Oh, that sounds bad. Like a bomb.
This creates an almost incalculable expansion potential, leading inevitably to a catastrophic pressure explosion.
This is where the sheer scope of the golem's vengeance truly unfolds. His act isn't just about killing Finch. It's about utterly erasing the entire facility. That house of horrors built upon Sasha's suffering and countless other unspeakable cruelties.
Ensuring its secrets are buried forever in a cataclysmic blast. Finch, trapped deep within the collapsing facility, realizes the bitter, poetic irony. The very machine he designed for constant, uninterruptible power, this secret source of Threshold's power, meant to fuel his ambitions, becomes the agent of its own destruction.
The monster returning to destroy its creator.
Literally and figuratively. The resulting explosion is apocalyptic, creating a violent geyser of white gas that rockets hundreds of feet into the air above Salamanca Park, leaving behind a deep, smoking crater and a vast, swirling plume of icy helium vapor.
A definitive end.
A fittingly dramatic and definitive end to a very dark chapter.
In the wake of this cataclysm, the ripples of Project Threshold's collapse extend far and wide. Let's turn our attention to Jonas Fachman, Catherine's editor.
Right, the poor editor caught in the middle of all this.
His ordeal began when Catherine's manuscript, her groundbreaking work on consciousness, was hacked and deleted from the Penguin Random House servers, an act orchestrated by Finch's operatives. This prompted Fachman's abduction.
Just snatched off the street.
He's interrogated in a terrifyingly anonymous black van facing Avatar, an advanced AI veracity analysis system. This isn't just a lie detector. Avatar meticulously tracks micro-expressions, subtle vocal inflections, and physiological responses, leaving virtually no room for deception.
High-tech interrogation. Creepy.
Fachman, despite his palpable fear and his unassuming role as a book editor, proves to be remarkably resourceful. He leverages his captors' predictable behavior, correctly surmising they're employing the classic fugitive interrogation ploy. The old let him think he escaped cherry.
Exactly. He's given a staged opportunity to escape in a tracked SUV, and escape the operatives want him to take, designed to lead them to Catherine.
This segment highlights the incredible lengths to which Finch's operation would go to suppress information, seeing a book manuscript as a national security threat.
It's insane.
The detailed psychological manipulation of Fachman, using an AI lie detector that peers into his most subtle physiological tells and a meticulously staged escape, demonstrates a sophisticated and utterly ruthless approach to intelligence.
But Fachman gets a little payback, right?
Fachman's defiant wit, even after his escape, becomes a memorable moment. Confronting the agents who had broken into Penguin Random House, he not only corrects their grammar for whom you work, he quips,
An editor to the end.
but also delivers a powerful, poignant reminder. Every great story has the same ending. The bad guys always lose.
This speaks to the enduring power of truth and narrative against overwhelming force, suggesting that ideas, especially dangerous ones that reveal uncomfortable truths, are far harder to kill than people.
It's a wild ride, isn't it? Even in a story about cutting-edge brain experiments and ancient symbols, a book editor battling AI lie detectors and orchestrating his own tracked car chase truly puts the stakes into perspective.
It really does. But Faulkman isn't the only one who experiences a profound shift. Ambassador Hyde Nagel.
Ah, yes, the ambassador. Initially, she was a political facilitator for the CIA, unknowingly used by Finch to cut through bureaucratic red tape for Threshold.
She thought she was doing patriotic work. A pawn.
She's a cog in the machine, blinded by what she believed was patriotism, but then she witnesses the raw, brutal truth. Gessner's video confession.
Seeing that video changed everything for her.
Nagel realizes the full, horrifying extent of the project, the profound abuses, the human suffering. Burdened by immense guilt, especially over the death of Michael Harris, who was spying on Sasha for Finch, she experiences a moral awakening.
Nagel's journey from unwitting pawn to courageous moral ally is a critical turning point for justice.
Yeah.
Her transformation demonstrates the profound power of individual conscience against systemic corruption.
She takes a huge risk.
She makes a truly courageous decision. She dramatically tears up the NDAs she was meant to make Langdon and Catherine sign. She bravely lies to Finch over a speakerphone call to aid their escape. And most critically, she distributes Gessner's video confession as an unassailable form of leverage against the CIA.
Using the truth weapon the Golem created.
Her motivation isn't just self-preservation. She ultimately seeks to gain ethical oversight for Threshold and to help Sasha, believing it's the best outcome for Sasha, for the CIA, and also for us. This pivot, driven by a deep desire to redeem herself for the terrible mistakes she made.
It forces accountability.
It forces accountability and offers a path to redefine scientific ethics in this new, terrifying battlefield of the mind.
And what about Sasha Vesna, the key test subject whose suffering fueled so much of Threshold's dark research?
Sasha's fate is crucial here.
After escaping her confinement, she demonstrates incredible bravery, walking directly into the U.S. Embassy, seeking political asylum.
Walking right in.
Yeah.
Bold.
The advanced implant in her head, the very device Threshold experimented with to control GABA levels and expand consciousness, is now transformed. It's no longer a tool of her subjugation. It is the most irrefutable proof of Threshold's existence and the CIA's unethical practices.
The implant itself is the evidence. Living proof.
It's a living, breathing testament to the program's horrific abuses. Nagel, now fully committed to redemption and ethical oversight, proposes a profoundly different future for Sasha. She suggests Sasha return to what remains of Threshold.
Return. Why?
Not as a test subject, but as a valuable and cherished asset to be treated with dignity and potentially find purpose in consciousness research, but with strict oversight and zero further testing.
When we consider the wider implications here, Sasha's survival and her unique brain become the ultimate, undeniable piece of evidence, forcing accountability upon a powerful, shadowy agency. It's a powerful narrative arc that transforms her victimization into a potential source of empowerment.
Her very existence becomes leverage for change.
Her very existence, with that advanced implant, now serves as a catalyst to redefine scientific ethics in this precarious battlefield of the mind. It offers a path not just for her own healing, but for a future where such profound scientific capabilities are approached with the utmost dignity, transparency, and respect for human autonomy. It ensures her voice, and the voices of all those wronged cannot be silenced.
Amidst all this chaos and the dramatic downfall of Threshold, one crucial question lingered. What happened to Catherine Solomon's revolutionary manuscript, the very book that sparked Finch's terrifying interest?
Right. Did it actually get burned?
Catherine initially believes her life's work, her bold exploration of the mysteries of human consciousness, has been utterly destroyed in the frantic escapes. But Langdon, ever the clever symbologist and quick-thinking academic, reveals his ingenious plan.
Langdon always has a trick up his sleeve.
He didn't burn the actual manuscript. Instead, he only burned Catherine's exhaustive bibliography, a whopping 42 double-spaced pages, crucial for academic credibility, but not the core content, along with handfuls of blank vellum pages from old ledgers.
Huh. The bibliography. And vellum for smoke.
The animal fat in the vellum, he knew, would create billowing black smoke, convincing any surveillance that a substantial document had been incinerated. The actual manuscript, titled The Deep Dive, was safely hidden behind some ancient, dusty books on the Clementinum Library's balcony, patiently awaiting its moment.
This is where the narrative truly highlights Langdon's unique blend of intellectual prowess and practical ingenuity. Even in the face of imminent danger and the need for a convincing deception, His quick thinking and deep understanding of both human psychology and physical properties
Like animal fat for smoke.
saved Catherine's life's work. It's a literary sleight of hand worthy of its own deep dive. His quick wit and knowledge of how to create an illusion ensured the survival of Catherine's bold exploration of the mysteries of human consciousness.
It underscores the idea that knowledge is hard to destroy.
This moment underscores the enduring power of knowledge and truth, especially when it challenges established paradigms, asserting that even the most powerful forces cannot entirely suppress radical ideas.
And in a wonderful meta twist, it's Langdon who proposes The Deep Dive as the title for Catherine's groundbreaking book on consciousness.
Naming the book after our show, or vice versa.
Catherine is initially skeptical, thinking it sounds a bit over the top or sensational for a serious scientific work, but Langdon, with a knowing wink and a twinkle in his eye, counters like a bestseller.
He knows how publishing works.
This playful moment connects directly to our own show. Catherine's book itself becomes a deep dive into the very fabric of existence, just as we, your hosts, are taking you on a deep dive into these very revelations from her story.
This self-referential moment is a clever way to tie all the narrative threads together, bringing us full circle back to the core mission of our own deep dive. The title, The Deep Dive for Catherine's book, encapsulates the profound journey we've just taken into scientific and philosophical questions about the nature of consciousness.
And the story ends back with that symbol, the halo.
And our story, fittingly, concludes with Catherine and Langdon in New York visiting the iconic Statue of Liberty. Her radiant crown, with its distinctive spikes, takes on a profound new significance. It's the same universal icon used through history to identify special individuals who we believe possess divine enlightenment or an advanced state of dot consciousness.
Bring it all together.
After everything we've uncovered about consciousness, its non-local nature, the brain's filters, its potential expansion at death, the universal halo isn't just a symbol of divinity anymore. It's a powerful representation of expanded awareness, a state that science is only now beginning to understand and, perhaps, even find ways to induce. It stands as the ultimate symbol of human potential, linking the spiritual aspirations of millennia with the cutting-edge inquiries of modern science.
What an absolutely incredible journey we've shared tonight, wouldn't you agree? We've traveled from ancient symbols in the lecture halls of Prague to the cutting-edge neuroscience labs beneath Salamanca Park.
Navigated the shadowy, ethically precarious world of intelligence agencies.
And plunged into the most profound mysteries of human consciousness itself. Tonight, we fundamentally redefine what we thought we knew about our minds, our perceptions, and even the ultimate transition we call death.
Indeed. Our deep dive has shown us that our understanding of self, reality, and even mortality is far more fluid, interconnected, and expansive than traditional views have led us to believe.
Yeah, much bigger than we thought.
The brain, rather than being the sole creator of consciousness, emerges as a sophisticated receiver, constantly tuning into a universal matrix of awareness, its bandwidth carefully filtered by chemicals like GABA.
The radio receiver model.
And the ultimate unfiltering, perhaps, happens at the moment of death, revealing a breathtaking, all-encompassing reality that transcends our physical limitations.
And the ethical implications of this knowledge are enormous, stretching beyond the pages of any book. If our thoughts can be seen, our brains rewired, and our consciousness deliberately expanded or manipulated,
We are faced with critical questions.
who controls that immense power and for what purpose? Project Threshold is a stark, killing reminder that knowledge, while undeniably liberating, can also be weaponized.
And that even a purely theoretical idea can have devastating real-world consequences when pursued without unwavering ethical guidelines.
This deep dive has truly highlighted the critical balance between fearless scientific exploration and profound ethical responsibility.
Absolutely. The universal human longing for connection, for enlightenment, so beautifully symbolized by the halo, now finds a striking echo in the scientific concept of non-local consciousness. It's a powerful call to integrate our spiritual aspirations with our scientific pursuits,
Go carefully.
but always with a vigilant, compassionate eye towards the inherent dignity and autonomy of the human experience.
Absolutely. And that brings us to a provocative thought for you to mull over in the days ahead. If our brains are indeed just receivers, tuning into a universal consciousness,
The big what if.
what other stations are out there waiting for us to discover them beyond our current limited bandwidth? And what would it truly mean for humanity to collectively widen its filters and perceive reality as it truly is in its full, unfiltered glory? It's a question that could shape not just our understanding of ourselves, but the very future of our species.